All right, this is session 4 of our Saturday morning cartoons series, second series of Monsterhearts 2. A lot of numbers in there. Saturday morning cartoons. I've got my bed head. I'm ready to go. I've got my coffee for our finale. I want to talk a little bit about what happened last time, just so that we're all on the same page, and also because there were a lot of action last time, and I want to make sure I have it all corralled in my brain before we get going. And then I want to talk briefly about what we'd like to get done during our final session. Somewhat misleading. I do plan on running this again. I'm really enjoying this Mercy Falls storyline, and so I'd like to do this again maybe I'm thinking August would be fun. So it might be an August selection for me. Same time, same bat time, same bat channel. And so I'll give you guys a heads up on that if that's going to happen. Last time, the main thing I remember is that Margot confronted Shadowmaster 55, which turned out to be her dad, and then Chad showed up. Ellen was there. Ellen tried to kill herself and then just got hit by a bullet and by Chad. Chad freaked out and panicked and shot Margot also. And then Ken and Chad both ran away, we think. That was a thing I remember. I remember we had a confrontation in the forest with Jonah's gang and Serena and Thomas. That all got that's a little muddy in my brain right now. I'm trying to remember like what all the moving parts were there. I know Jonah and Serena had some kind of confrontation. Like what happened exactly? Refresh my mind on like what the sequence of events was there.
I believe that Serena was coming after Jonah, and Jonah pulled a gun on her, I think is maybe what happened.
Right. And I know that, like, didn't Tony or somebody get caught in the crossfire, like, or one of the gang members or one of the clique members, I thought, like Thomas cut them or something? I'm trying to remember what happened.
I don't remember that. I just remember that there was Jonah was pointing the gun at Thomas after Thomas was like telling Jonah to shoot me or to shoot one of the gang members, not me.
Right.
And I kind of like got in the way, and then there was like that's when we were cutting like back and forth between two scenes with the gun.
Right.
And so that at one point there were shots fired in one scene, and like you could hear the echo of the shots fired in the other scene.
Right.
And then like that was used as a distraction, and I think we left it with nobody in our scene really getting hurt. Like the shots all missed. Like
yeah, I remember Jonah rushing up and like throwing you like
exactly. I was
before that. Thomas cut someone, and you started drinking from them, Serena.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
that set off Jonah.
That's what set Jonah off because you started feeding. I'm trying to remember who that was. I think it was.
Oh, it was Tony.
It was Tony. Yeah.
I think it was Tony that I was feeding on, and then Jonah got set off and then threw me into the tree yet again.
Right.
Yeah.
That was a nice sort of little echo of series 1. Right? That's how those confrontations always end. Yep. And that's where we kind of left you guys, right? That's what that was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I got shot in the head, and
right.
It ended with the big man coming in to.
Yeah. I'm picking up on that. Yeah. So yeah, I didn't forget that. Okay. So let's see. I think that's good. I want to figure out what we're going to do here for the finale. My thinking is, since I know there's going to be a series 3 or a third series, I'm going to set up. I'm going to be putting things on the board for series 3. That's just my way. That's what I did last time with Thomas, right? So be on the lookout for that. That's something I plan on doing. As far as the storylines we have going on right now, Bellefontaine's investigation. I could totally see that being an ongoing thing. I don't feel like that has to resolve right now. And really, truly, the only thing I think that, like, to the extent we have to get any kind of like resolution on something this session, and I'm not even sure we do. I think it might just come down to like the aftermath of what happened in the woods, like the gunfires and stuff and all that, and like maybe just picking up from that a little bit. I don't know like where else I don't think we're gonna have time to like resolve Big Man and Bellefontaine and Thomas. Like none of that's gonna happen this session, right? There's just no way. So what are your guys' thoughts on that? On all of that?
I can definitely see where if there was gunfire various places out in the woods, that people would be reporting that, since there's already been a high-profile series of murders. So
yeah,
that could trigger Bellefontaine rolling in anywhere. And
yeah, I'm into that. I think that would. Yeah, I think that work. I think that checks out. And I think I'm gonna actually. I think what I might do is. I think the obvious answer is to like get Bellefontaine on Marco and Ellen, because they were shot, you know, even though they ended up like, you know, they're not dead or whatever. But I think what I'm going to do instead is I think I'd like to push Bellefontaine towards Jonah and Serena a little bit more, particularly Serena. I think there's something there. Okay, good. I have a question. As far as like you guys coming back from the dead, did you guys both choose to take the no strings option, or did either of you choose Darkest Self?
Go ahead, Lowell.
I cleared strings.
Okay, low clear. Margot, I'm cool with either. I can make both work. It's up to you.
Darkest Self, I think.
Okay.
I don't want to give up the string I have on Ellen still.
I think it'd be good. I think it'd be a good ending session would be the werewolf rampaging through the town at night or something, right? I could see that.
Yeah, because this could probably be about the worst ever.
yeah. At least against like maybe Chad or your dad or somebody, right? So okay.
Yep.
All right, I'm into that. And then I have an idea for like where I want to pick up with Ellen and Margot. So I'm pretty cool with that. Serena, what do you think? Where do we think we would be going with you next after this?
So like originally my goal last session, like my short-term goal is to like either break up Jonah's gang or like get a gang of my own, sort of like maybe leading into like picking up my own like vampire coterie type thing. So
we can keep pressing on that. I mean,
yeah, so we can do that. And then I think the other part of that was because Thomas was sort of like had an interest in me and had an interest in Jonah, like sort of playing with that dynamic of like, where does Thomas fit in between me and Jonah and him, that type of thing.
Well, Thomas is definitely like, mechanically, Thomas is like really deeply connected to Jonah, right? Like he's not only Jonah's dark power, he's also part of Jonah's clique. It's a really, really tight like thing. Fictionally, I think that is probably the more interesting thing. And I feel like there's already been some intimation that Thomas is interested in you, either like romantically or sexually, but that like for very, very like pretentious elitist fairy reasons, like he can't touch you, right? Which is what the whole like vision you had about him covering your body in metal mesh, right? Like to make you like palatable or whatever.
Right. So I think pushing on that, like either somehow getting like Thomas getting Jonah involved to try to like either as like a surrogate or some like in between, because they're so mechanically tied, might be interesting.
Like yeah, I'm into that. Jonah, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if that's what it costs for Jonah to get what he wants, then.
Well, so what does Jonah want? I mean, I think that's a good segue. I mean, like you have this like font of power. You have this clique. You've even got Bellefontaine on your side in some ways, right? I mean,
right.
Like, what are you going to try to accomplish here?
I think what Jonah's trying to accomplish is he's just trying to. I think it's twofold. Like one, he wants to kind of just kind of assert his power with all these other weirdos who keep fucking with him and his people. And the other thing is that I think he wants to like get back at Margot for killing Dawn.
I'm into that.
Like she sent Rhodey to Bellefontaine. That's what's happened, right?
Well, I mean, she killed Dawn, and then that was the main, I guess that's the main thing, right? I mean,
yeah, but last episode didn't. Correct me if I'm recalling this wrong, but I thought didn't Jonah tell Rhodey to go find Bellefontaine and get him onto Margot's trail?
He did. You're right. Good. Yeah, it's a good thing. Okay. All right, Ben. So I think I feel pretty good about pushing off then. Does anybody else have any like last minute thoughts or questions or anything? All right, cool. Let's get going then.
The only thing I can think of is I think an appropriate like opener, if this were a TV show, would be like a no hunting sign between these dates.
Okay, so let's see here. I think I want to pick up. I want to pick up straight away with Big Man and Margot. You are going to go to Darkest Self, and I'm going to give you the pretext for that in a minute. But I think we just see like Big Man walking through the woods, carrying you in his arms, walking through the woods in the way that we've seen him do before. Like he's very big, he's heavy, he's a presence, right? He has a physicality to him, and the woods are thick with brush and trees and tangle, but he moves through it. He moves through it almost elegantly, like he has walked these trails and paths many, many times before, and he just like he moves through it like a shark through water, right? The way he just like cuts through the forest, holding you in his arms. And I think you're going in and out, Margot. Like I think you're mostly out, but you occasionally catch little bits of him soliloquying, to you, as it were. And he's, he says things like, like we saw last time, like, oh, you've gotten yourself into trouble, right? A little girl, stuff like that, And then he says, we're going to show this town, Margot. We're going to give them a lesson that they're never going to forget. Mr. Thompson, implicated in the murder of several children. It's not enough. I mean, he's just a queer, bad apple. Right? The town will forget him in no time and go back to the regular order of things. But we're going to do better than that, aren't we, Margot? And he's like slumping through the woods, right? Carrying you. He takes you to the mouth of the cave, right? He takes you to the mouth of the cave and he says, now it's time for your baptism. Your baptism in pain and terror, but also truth. The lie will fall away. Your mercy will fall away. And he kind of just steps into the mouth of the cave, right? And he says, you are going to expose them. You are going to reveal them to themselves. And he just goes in deeper and he lays you down. I'm going to present you with an option. You can wolf out right now and cause chaos and terror, and that's good enough for Big Man. Or you can choose to have the scales lifted from your eyes about Mercy Falls, and I'll give you a permanent custom move wherein whenever you gaze into the abyss for the express purpose of exposing Mercy Falls' dark underbelly, you get +1 on that roll.
So
Choice is yours.
I definitely want that.
In which case, erase your strings. Because
I'm sorry?
in which case, erase your strings. Yeah,
Got it.
You are now a woman apart, as it were, from the community. And he leaves you there. I think his intention, just so we're all very clear here, I think Big Man's intention is that it's not enough to cause just terror. It's not enough to a random series of murders isn't enough to kind of bring Mercy Falls to its knees, right? The town is resilient. Communities are resilient. People are resilient. It has to be something deeper. It has to be something more fundamental, right? That's what he's getting at. I'm going to cut to Ellen. I've got strings on you from Big Man. Big Man's not done having his way. You wake up, as we've stated, you wake up in your living room, and you are on your couch. And I assume you wake up in a shock or something, right? As if from a dream, you're going to turn and look over to the left, and you're going to see your parents sitting in their chairs that they normally sit in. Your father in his easy chair, your mother in kind of a wingback chair that she was probably given as an heirloom from her grandmother or something, right? And they're dressed the way they're normally dressed, except they're both wearing masks. Your father is wearing like a wolf mask, and your mother is wearing like a rabbit mask, and they're just going about their day talking to each other as if they're not wearing funny masks on their faces. What do you do?
Are you guys okay?
They can't hear you. They're not responding to you at all.
That's no. I would get up and try to get up and touch and move them and interact. They have to acknowledge that I'm here.
If you touch them, if you push them, if you prod them, if you poke them, they'll move. You are corporeal, right? They just don't have any response.
I kind of don't want to, but I think I'm going to reach out and reach for that rabbit mask.
And then you hear a voice around the corner. That's real, real good. Real good. And Big Man steps out, into your living room. And he says, pull off their masks. Reveal them. I like that. And he kind of stalks across the living room. He lights up a cigarette. You know what they did to you, right?
What?
Oh, come now. You know how your father came up to your room that night, and that other night, and that other night. You know, he put his hands on you, but not in a friendly, loving way. Think hard.
I'm trying not to think hard. I'm really trying not to. Just, he
takes a drag on the cigarette. Go to Agent Bellefontaine. Show them that place in the forest. The truth will set you free. And then he just leaves the living room. I'm spending my string. I'll give you an XP if you go to Bellefontaine and show him your grave.
Anything to get out of this place. There's no grave. There's just something happened in the woods I saw in a dream. I'll take him out there and I'll get in trouble. But out of this room, out of this place, and I'm going to run.
Yeah, all you have to do is take Bellefontaine to the spot in the woods, and you get the XP. So
Okay.
you could pre-mark it now just for housekeeping purposes. But good. I'm going to cut away to. Let's go to where do I want to go next? Let's go, Serena. So Serena, you've had this encounter in the woods. The gunfire has rung out. You're in the tree. Where would you head from here?
I have a feeling like everybody else leaves, and so like I'm just kind of like hanging there, like and like eventually like I struggle and get up. I think afterwards, where do I head? I probably head to wherever. You know what? I think I go straight to Jonah's house. Like
Nice.
like I'm trying to find him, and I'm like, there's no other place to go other than Jonah's house. And if he's not there, well, we'll deal with that when we get there.
Okay, nice. Before I want to continue with that, I want to find out where Jonah is headed. Jonah, where are you? Where are you going?
He's not home. I think he took Tony because Tony got injured, so he probably took Tony to. Well, Don's not around anymore. So
Don's
now he
not
has to
around
go to an
anymore.
actual
Yeah,
hospital.
you took Tony to Don's grieving parents to get patched up. You could take him to the emergency room or whatever. It's fine. Mercy Falls General.
Yeah. Maybe his parents are there. It's possible.
Yeah.
Maybe I just find Ben.
That's going to attract attention, right? I mean, the gunfire, you taking an injured teenager to the hospital,
Right.
like all that stuff is going to attract attention. And I think it's just going to come down to like, we don't know where Thomas went, so we'll cut there as far as that goes, or we'll leave that hanging out in the air. But I think I'm going to pick up with. Okay, I think I've got it. So we'll get to you in a minute, John. Let's go back to Serena. So Serena, you just go to the front door, and ring the doorbell.
Yeah. So what do I actually do? I think I
Can't just go in. So
right. So I think I like study it from like the street just for a moment, like looking at it and like seeing like if the doors are open or if it looks like anybody's home. And I think if it looks like at all there's somebody home, like there's a car in there, there's a light on or something like that, then I'm just going to go up to the front door and knock and see what's going on. But if there's not, like it doesn't look obvious, I think I'm going to like wander around and like try to like peer through windows and things like that.
Okay, I'm into that. Around what time of day would this be? I get the last encounters were like late afternoon, right? So
yeah, so I could see this being like Twilight type thing. Like
yeah. I actually think his parents may not be there because I think they would have gotten a call from the hospital like, "Oh, we have your son," and I'm sure cops and stuff are involved. So, so I think they'll be gone. So you're just skulking around the outside.
Yeah, so I'm skulking around the outside. Like I'm trying to, like I'm really hoping he's here, but knowing that he's not actually here, like just trying to find, like some information about him and like kind of like follow up. But like again, like as pointed out, Ben lives next door, so I'm probably doing something super suspicious as like Ben comes up.
Oh, nice. I think you actually find Ben in Jonah's house. Ben is skulking around. And how long do you watch him?
I think I watch him for at least a couple of minutes. And like just watching him like go through like rooms, like searching for things or doing whatever that's in there. And then like when I've noticed that he hasn't noticed me and like he's just going on, like I think eventually like I'll rap on the door, like the window or whatever it is that like I'm seeing and watching him through, whether it's a door or a window, to get his attention.
We've established that. Do you have a little window, Jonah, in your little room, your bedroom, or is it windowless?
I think he has like a little window in there.
A little window. Okay, yeah. I think we did actually mention that at one time. If you look inside the little window where Jonah's quote bedroom is, which is just a converted pantry, you'll see Ben like trying on Jonah's clothing, and like he's trying on Jonah's clothing. He like lays down in Jonah's bed for a little bit, like kind of like presses like Jonah's pillow to his face, like that kind of thing. Super creepy. What do you do?
Yeah, so like as he's doing that, um, instead of like knocking on the window that I see right there, like to see him like in that private moment, I think I walk around to like somewhere like to the front door and like ring the doorbell, fully knowing that he's not going to come to it, but
Right,
like
yeah.
is going to like maybe like try to sneak out somewhere else. So like ring the doorbell and then like walk to like the back entrance or exit of the house and wait for him there, because that's
Mhm.
obviously where he's going to like run to or something to get out.
Yeah, I think if you ring the doorbell up front, he'll try to sneak out back, and then
Yeah.
you can go catch him. And you catch
Yeah.
him. He's like, he's like, you see him just like kind of coming out the back, right? He says, "Hey, Serena, how's it going?"
It's going pretty well, Ben. I've had better days, but I've had worse days too.
Yeah, okay. Are you here? Like, what are you doing here?
I was looking for Jonah, but
Oh yeah, me
he's-
too. Yeah, he's not around.
he doesn't seem to be here. I kind of like look at him and uh kind of like just appraise him and maybe like grab him by like his lapel. Like, what kind of shirt is he wearing?
I think he's wearing just like a t-shirt.
Yeah, just a t-shirt. So like maybe like it's just like uh a little bit like off or something because he was trying on all these other clothes. So like I think I just grab it and like just like straighten it out or something and like kind of like brush him down slightly and look at him like, Ben,
Yes.
why are you so interested in Jonah? You're too good for him.
And he like gets a little like he started to look a little nervous or whatever, and I think he doesn't want to open up to you unless you make a stronger
Right,
move
right.
here.
So I think what I'll probably do is I've got a string on him, so I'll spend the string, but like maybe like we'll turn from his like from Jonah's door, his back door, and like just start walking away. And maybe like I'll like put my arm around him since like I see he's kind of awkward. So like he'll
Yeah.
probably let me get more forward than I probably should be, like type thing. As like I'll put my arm around him and like walk with him side by side out. And I'm like, Ben, I see the way that you look at Jonah, and I've seen the way that other people look at Jonah, and I see how that must look to you, what you want to be a part of what he has. But you're too good. You're too genuine. You want to care too much about what other people think and try to get their attention. And Jonah, someone like Jonah is just going to eat you alive. And you should find somebody else, somebody better who will care for you and understand how good and honest of a person you actually are.
Since you're spending the string to tempt him, I will say that he'll do this if you like take his hand right now.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll take his hand and like walk with him, and like instead, because I know he lives right next door, but I don't think I want to like walk with him to his place. I think I want to like walk with him back towards like the center of town, like where action is, to like maybe get his mind off of it and like get him to essentially think of me as the person to like try to emulate instead of Jonah, like to
Yeah.
switch his fascination.
Yeah, that's a done deal. I mean, yeah, he'll totally like switch to you. That's no problem.
Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, good. I'm into that. Let's cut over to Jonah. Get everybody on the table here. So you bring Tony in. The cops get called. The cops show up. They begin questioning you. It's not the first time you've been to that rodeo, right? But then Bellefontaine shows up. and he he kind of walks up to the locals, the local authorities, and he says, "Gentlemen, the federal government has this one well in hand. I'll take over this questioning. Why don't you go get me a cup of coffee?" And he kind of like scoots them on their way, and they like kind of resentfully grumble away and walk off. He says, "Jonah, well, I can't believe this is the second time we're going to be having a conversation like this today. Really, really busy day in Mercy Falls for you, huh, fella?"
Yeah, no thanks to you.
"No thanks to me. Whatever could you mean?"
You didn't give me a ride back to school.
"So because I didn't give you a ride back to school, you decided to run out to the middle of the woods shooting guns and taking a bite out of your friend? There's a bit of a stretch there in terms of our cause and effect, my friend."
I didn't take a bite out of him. You have no idea what's going on.
"I have some idea what's going on. Your little friend, Rhodey, came to me and told me that I should have my eye on this Margot girl."
If you were worth your weight, you would be watching her.
"Let's say I decided to investigate Margot. What would I find? What would I discover?"
And I think Jonah gets a little uncomfortable and he's like, "I don't think you understand that there's weird stuff going on around here."
I think it might be a keep your cool situation.
Right, I think it totally is.
Yeah.
That is a 9.
A 9. All right. I pull up the notes. Hold on. Here we go. So let's just continue the conversation, and I'll play through it. I think essentially you're going to go kind of like. I think I'd like to angle it to where he actually finds you like confident and imposing.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jonah like stands up and he's like, "Where were you when she killed Dawn? You weren't here. You don't know what's going on. Dawn is dead because people like you aren't on top of all these freaks out here who are able to do weird shit and kill people. And it's not even just Marco. Sarita's a weirdo too."
He takes out his little notepad, his legal pad, and sets it down. I think you guys are like in a little break room or whatever. He like makes some notes. And he's just writing. And while you're having your little outburst, he's continuing to write notes. Very like he stops.
And I think this is where I think this might be like where Tony comes out of the room after getting bandaged up. Yeah. And I think Jonah actually walks up and grabs his hand, and then he like brings him over to Bellefontaine, and he's just like, "I'm not gonna lose any more of my friends to these freaks. So if you're not gonna stop them, then I will." And I think that's.
Serena, is Tony in any way thralled to you right now? I know that like I'm trying to remember like where we left that. Like, is it possible that Tony would like not betray you here or would like not give you up?
I don't think so. I think he would probably give me up. I think that we have like the start of a relationship or something that's going on, like something that's probably more, I think, more meaningful than what he has with Jonah, but it's probably not as deeply rooted as like all the things that he has with Jonah going on. So if he had to pick, I would assume he'd probably still pick Jonah over me.
Yeah, so I think yeah, like do you just want Tony to corroborate like everything that like happened in the forest or what?
Yeah,
Like,
although
are
I
you gonna
imagine,
give Bellefontaine the details like bloodsucker, werewolf, or are you gonna like still keep
well, I think that Jonah is a little hesitant to like give those details because he thinks he'll just be thought of as crazy.
right?
So, but I think Tony will corroborate kind of quietly in a way, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and also
uh,
Bellefontaine knows about the exsanguinated body of Kyle, right? Like,
right.
so there is a connection there. Like, if he sees the wound, you know, like the wound on Tony's shoulder, he might put two and two together as well. You know, he is ready to believe something weird is going on in Mercy Falls, right? Like, he's totally primed for that. So you don't have to feel like, oh, I'm, you know, he's gonna think I'm a crazy person or whatever.
Yeah, so I look at him and I'm like, if you want to start down the road to discovering what's really going on and what's been happening in the woods, why don't you start with Serena, because she did this. And I'm just gonna like lift Tony's bandage to show the bite marks.
Yeah. Well, it was a wound, and then I think she drank from it, but maybe there's some teeth marks there too when she was drinking.
Yeah, there's like,
yeah.
She got a little excited.
Nice. Good. Let's cut from that. Let's go. Well, so I want to find out. I want to have one more scene before we get to Wolf Out. I want to go to Ellen. So Ellen, you just had this encounter with Big Man. He's like trying to get you to like see the truth of what's going on, to face up to it, and to reveal your parents, because that would be a really interesting story.
Nope. I'm going to go and find Bellefontaine, and I know he needs to get onto the track of this guy in yellow, who's tied up with Jonah, and I don't know why and how, and he needs to get on him. And so I'm going to talk to him about that. But I don't know where do I go to find him?
I mean, if you can go straight to the hospital if you want. I mean,
Oh yeah, wherever I think he is. So I'm going to go.
Right. Maybe you run into him like when he's getting in his car. Like he's getting in his car.
The inspector, detective.
That's Special Agent, young lady.
Special Agent Bellefontaine. Can I talk to you?
Certainly. We can talk. Please have a seat.
And since I haven't given his car, I assume there's like a bench.
Yeah, sure, in the front seat, sure. Yeah.
Okay. So something happened.
Many things have been happening in this town, young lady. Of that, I'm sure.
Well, you're right. You're right about that. You really are. Did something happen out in the woods?
Mm.
I don't know what it is. We should go there. I know there's this guy who's behind a bunch of it. This guy, and he's a big guy. He's in yellow, dresses in yellow. He's got a cowboy hat, and he's tied up with Jonah somehow. I don't know, but yeah, we should go to the woods.
He drives. He says, "All right, show me the way."
Okay.
And do you, I guess, like point him you take him kind of into a direction, I guess, as far as the car will go before he has to pull off and get out, pull over and get out on foot.
Because I know that when we get there, there's not going to be a body there. It's going to be fine. There might be some evidence of some guns, but this is I got him. Everything's going to be fine. Really good.
As you guys are like walking through the forest to this spot where you're taking him, he says, "Miss, I have to confess, I'm not even sure you're here right now."
What do you mean?
Are you here? with us right now?
Oh, I don't do drugs.
Or am I walking into the forest alone? A suggestion, as if in a waking dream, a bolt of lightning, of critical, divine insight about what's going on in this town. I just don't know. I can't quite put my finger on it.
No, I thought we were just walking into the woods. I just want to show
Perhaps
you
we
this
are.
place.
Perhaps we are.
I,
And where do you take it?
I take him to where there's no body, but like there was some gunfire and maybe some footprints of the yellow man and where poor Margot got murdered, and stuff. At there, that's I'm going to take him. And I will say that once we're in the woods, and the yellow man, one of the people he only made somebody shoot Margot in the head, and she was.
So many suggestions, so many little voices in my ear telling me why I should be here. I'm looking around and I'm seeing quite a sight. He turns and looks at you.
Okay.
Why don't you tell me what's really going on, miss?
Point to the place.
We see blood, other evidence of a struggle, right? He takes note of it, says, he sighs. He kind of just gives like a disappointed head shake and says, I've dealt with your kind many a time before, miss. You always want to show me something, but the thing you want to show me, you can never quite face. It makes my job rather difficult.
No, you don't. It was a gunfire, and there's blood there, and
I'm
Margot
not
was
even
here.
sure I can hear you. Your voice is fading into the back of my waking consciousness, of my awareness. A tinny, small sound, a desperate gasp, a cry for attention. Will someone ever hear you? I just don't know. Will you ever be able to perfectly express your trauma? Will you ever be able to face the truth of what is happening? It's very, very unclear. But I keep doing it. I keep doing the work for you ghosts of the past, of our memories, of our collective guilt. I always get to the truth.
You're an asshole.
Keep your cool.
Okay. Nine.
You just go completely unnoticed. You can thrash about as much as you wish, and he'll say, do you want me to give you a ride back into town?
No! Run off.
And that's that. Margot, what did you experience in the cave? Oh, you're not wolfing out. I forgot. Well, it's okay. Yeah, I forgot you chose not to wolf out. In the cave, you experienced a terrible amount of pain and trauma and fright, but also like a deep, deep, deep well of understanding. You were for even just a moment exposed to some kind of cosmic truth, right? You were never able to turn and look at the thing that was right behind you, right over your shoulder the whole time, even though it breathed heavily, and even though it occasionally stroked the back of your neck and wanted you to turn around and look, but you never did. Instead, you just took in its pain and understanding and its desire to be rid of this place. How do you feel?
I think Margot will probably internalize, especially that getting rid of this place thing, because everyone pretty much just ditched out on her. Her dad ran away when she got shot. Everyone fled. She owes no one anything. All she has is pain, and maybe it's time to start helping wipe the board clean.
Indeed. And I think before you leave, as you resolve to like go out and expose Mercy Falls, bring Mercy Falls to its knees, shake everybody to their core, whatever. As you go out to do that, I think you feel a reassuring touch. The pain and the terror and the fear falls away. And this touch is, you're being touched in multiple places on your body. It feels at first cold and clammy, but eventually it feels warm. You can feel the warmth, like it's taking your warmth and feeding it back to you in a loop. And the embrace of this entity, whatever it is, has a certain reassuring quality. This thing has learned how to mimic sympathy, and it's really, really good. And once it is satisfied that your backbone is steeled, it will slip away into the darkness behind you and send you on your way. Where do you go?
Well, I think I need to go home and have some words with Dad, the Shadow Master.
Indeed.
Some very harsh words.
So you go to the mobile home. You find your mom. She's off her shift. When you walk in, she says, Margot, what's going on? Your father's locked himself in the bedroom again. I have no idea what's going on. He won't tell me anything.
Well, I'm not surprised, Mom. Maybe you want to sit down for this, because I just found out today. It's pretty bad. No, it's awful.
She sits
The
down.
truth is awful.
She says, what's going on, honey? Just tell me everything.
Dad's been dealing drugs. He's been
my
selling
God.
drugs to the kids at school. He's
God.
been fronted by the mob. I don't know how many thousand he's into them. The dumb shit gave all the drugs to a kid who stuck it up his nose and in his friend's arms. So that money ain't coming in. We're in big trouble. We got to ditch him. He's got to go. He's been a dead weight for too long, Mom. You work 2 jobs, nothing. He just eats and drinks your salary. He's awful. You got to realize how bad he is. And I'll go pound on the door. You hear that? You suck.
And I think that's going to shake him a little bit, right? Because he thinks you're dead. And you'll just hear him say, no. I know what happened. I saw what happened. You're not going to trick me. You're not going to trick me. I'm not coming out of here.
What do you think happened, Dad? Come on, come out, Daddy. Come out.
And I think he's freaking out. Like, he's freaking out really bad. Like, he's freaking out really, really bad. Like you have to imagine like his headspace here. He saw you get shot in the head. He saw you bleeding out, and now you're just here on the other side of the bedroom door, like, you know, talking to him. I think he's losing it, and he's losing it. He's got the door locked. Your mom like comes up and she says, "I don't know what's going on, Margot, but I think your father, I think he's going to hurt himself." She's like, "I can tell he's going to hurt himself. Something's happening." And because there's just like a moment of quiet, like where we don't hear him, like he initially freaked out, but then he just got really, really quiet. And
Call 911, Mom. Call the cops.
She does. Give me a keep your cool.
Four.
We'll come back. I know it's going to happen. We'll come back. All right. Well, great. So, Serena, you have got Ben fully in your control, making good progress on Tony. What's your next move here?
I think what I want to do is find more people. Like, I almost imagine it sort of like if this were like a movie, it'd be like a montage thing where like you gather one person and then like you cut them again, and like there's the interaction, and then there's three of us walking down the street, and then like that type of thing. But I don't know who else I would grab. Like, I wanted to grab Ellen before because Ellen seemed like one of those people that could easily be swayed into joining anybody who's popular. So
I've got a scene in mind for Ellen, so we'll
cool.
hold that thought for just put it in for once.
But I don't. Since I can't grab Tony because he's occupied, I can't grab Ellen. Maybe what I do is I just actually continue making the connection between me and Ben deeper. So like maybe even though we go like walking around somewhere, maybe we go someplace where I actually do end up feeding on Ben.
What do you think about Chad right now? Because Chad might be scared.
I could totally go after Chad.
Chad might be totally scared and freaking out somewhere, right? I think
so maybe like as we're going, we run into Chad. Like maybe he's trying to do something. Cool.
I think you turn down a side street and you see Chad's Camaro, like parked, and you see Chad like with his face buried in his hands, bawling. What do you do?
I think I tell Ben to hold off for a second and like to just like stand back a little bit as I walk up to Chad's car, and I think I go up to the window and just like stand there like for a moment, because I'm assuming he's so involved in himself he doesn't realize I've walked up to the window and I'm just standing there.
Right,
and like when that happens, like I do like the light rap on the window to like sort of get his attention after the awkward moment of I'm standing there for 5 seconds and he hasn't looked up.
Nice. And he freaks out. He's like, whoa, just tears, like his eyes are red, like and wet. And he's like, what the fuck do you want?
And I just look at him and like, Chad, it's okay. Lots of things are going on. What do you want?
He rolls down the window. He says, I don't have time for this, Serena. I've got a lot of shit going on right now. I'm getting ready to leave town. I'm done with this fucking place.
Okay. What do you need? If you've got a lot of stuff to do, what do you need help with?
He's like, money. I need money.
Okay. Don't you have things? I know you may not have money, but don't your parents have things that You could hawk or sell or things like that.
I don't have that kind of time, Serena. I've got some real bad shit going on. I don't have time to go into all this right now. I got a lot of bad shit going on. What are you doing out here in the middle of the night with Ben? And then like he, and Ben's just like standing back there like, hey, and
Yeah, so like I kind of like look up, like just like when he says Ben, I look over to Ben and I'm like, we're just out. Chad, don't worry about Ben. What I'm worried about is you saying that you don't have enough time to do anything, that you need money, that you need help. But I'm offering my help and you're not thinking through what that could mean.
and I think you may need to glamour him because he's really like,
Yeah.
really, really stressed out and freaking out.
So, I think like what it is like, I think, he looks at me and I kind of have that, that stare down at him as like, because I'm standing up and he's in his car. So like I'm looking down on him and I look at him like, Chad, things are going to be better. It's not as bad as you think. And if we just stand together and you seek the help of other people. So like I'm hypnotizing him, but like to like let us in and let us like try to help him with what he needs to get done. Like things will get better. You just got to find the right friends.
I love it. Roll that move.
Yeah. All right. I don't have that Hangouts window up anymore because I accidentally closed it. Load.
Did you have like a hypnotize move? Oh yeah,
I do.
like,
Yeah.
you can hypnotize people who have no strings on you. I don't think he has strings on you. Let me look.
I think so.
He does not. And
Yeah, it's with hot.
yeah.
So that's what I was checking. I nailed it. I got a 12.
Nice. They do exactly what you wish and have no idea anything is wrong. So what do you want them to do?
So like I kind of feel like I'm gaining a posse. So like I think I want him to be like the driver of this. So like to like invite like me and Ben and like we'll sit in the car and like drive around, like just like picking people up.
Okay,
and like eventually like getting to like some like West Side Story confrontation where we walk up to like Jonah and his gang type thing.
I love it. Yeah, he's into that. Like he's like, I think he just kind of like dumbly like, he's like, yeah, okay, yeah, everything's gonna be fine, right? I mean,
Yeah, everything's gonna be fine.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
all right, yeah, get in, yeah,
Yeah.
and as you guys get in, he's like, and be careful, like he's like, don't like put your feet on the seats or anything.
It's okay, Chad. Everything will be fine. Let's while we're driving around, why don't you tell me about like what's been upsetting you so much? Like what can we do right now to help you?
He'll tell you the whole story.
Yeah.
He'll tell you everything that happened, and like he'll just kind of spill his guts. And so now you kind of know what the story is about what happened between all of them.
Right. And so like when he says that, like I think that the thing is like, well, I think the next thing to do is maybe to go find Margot.
Let's take a quick break. Let's take like 2 or 3 minutes.
Cool.
I was curious, Lowell, if you picked up on the first time you encountered Bellefontaine, he alluded to the fact that you might not even be there, right? I don't know if you remember that or not.
No, I had that's a great callback.
Yeah, he had. Yeah, I've been thinking about that relationship for a long time, like from the very beginning. This idea that like Bellefontaine's motivation is he wants to like bring justice for the purpose of like easing the pain of the ghosts of the past, right? You know, and things like that. Like this theme is something I'm interested in, and so yeah, I kind of purposely like echoed that again this time. I was really
Nice.
trying to hit that little point of the way he perceives you.
Freaky. Well, it hits on my triggers, so.
All right, are we all set? Cool. Jonah, you were cut loose once they patched up Tony. You've given Bellefontaine some leads to follow, and he's gonna go do his thing. Where do you go? What do you do?
I think that Jonah is feeling like he's kind of resecured his relationship with Tony in a way. And so I think what happens is there's the whole like thing with the parents coming to the hospital, right? And like my parents came and Tony's parents came, and I think we convinced them to like let us like have a sleepover at my place.
Okay, you and Tony and who else?
I guess Rhodey, he's there too.
And Rhodey, okay, yeah.
And yeah, so I think we're back at my place in my little tiny
right, yeah. Well, you have the run of the house if you
room.
want it, right? Like your parents will go retire to their room for the night, right? That's what my parents used to do during sleepovers. They would just not come out of their bedroom.
So I think we're in like the living room.
Yeah.
In that case, and we're just like we got Netflix on or something, and all these blankets and pillows out in the living room, and yeah,
Netflix and chill.
That's where Netflix and chill.
Netflix and worship the devil and chill. Oh, good.
As one does.
Yeah, so I think Tony will be there, and he'll say, Jonah, I feel really bad about like telling the cops, about Serena and stuff. Like, she's really nice. I mean, I don't think she'd try to like intentionally hurt anyone. I mean, but I know she's weird, and I know she
totally bit you.
It was strange. I get it, but like, I don't know. There's just something about her, Like, I think she means well. That's all I'm saying.
There's some people who will just, they seem nice and everything, but in the end, all they're doing is using you.
Man, I'm just telling you, I've been alone with her so many times, and I think like you didn't. He's never said that out loud, right? I've been alone with her so many times. She's had plenty of opportunities to like, hurt me or do whatever. And she never has. She's always been really cool. That's all I'm saying.
You remember Alan?
Yeah, I remember Alan.
Well, he was Serena's previous little friend. And where is he now?
I think it's to shut someone down. Cold plus cold.
That is a 9.
Let's see here. Choose one. I'll give you a condition in return.
I'll take +1 forward.
Okay. I'm gonna give you the condition paranoid.
All right.
He's like, I just think you're being totally paranoid right now, dude. That's all I'm saying. Like, I get it. Okay, I get the Alan thing. I get it. I get a lot of weird shit happen, but that was all Mr. Thompson, right? I mean, what the fuck? And then, like, I'm just saying, I just think you need to get out of your head on this, man. That's all I'm saying.
And I think that's when Jonah like starts rubbing him, like, and he's like, well, it's not like I don't have any reason to worry.
Dude, we're in your parents' fucking living room.
Yeah, so?
You're trying to turn him on.
Yeah.
you get a +1 as well as hot. I think Rhodey's like, I'm going to go get a Coke.
Oh, barely made it a 7.
Okay. You get a string on him unless they choose a reaction from below. You can take the string. I think he kind of pushes you away. I think he's like, no, man. He's like, we're in your fucking living room. You're being a paranoid freak. Like, Jonah, you're my bro. Like, we go way back. Like, I trust you, but you need to trust me for once. I'm just telling you, she's cool. All right. You're under a lot of stress. All the shit was done. All the shit from it's just try to clear your head, man. That's all I'm saying.
If anyone has a right to forgive Serena, it's you. But I just want to make sure you know that we also have to look out for each other. I mean, I'm not completely sure after everything that happened, after everything that I saw in the forest, I'm not sure that we can trust Serena. But I mean, at the same time, I'm probably more worried about Margot right now.
We won't get any objections from me on that. She's fucked. I mean, he's like, and he grabs the remote. He's like, hey, I think that Lady Wrestler show's on Netflix now. He goes and clicks on it.
Yeah, that's good stuff. That's a good segue point.
All right. I want to do. I want to go to Margot first. Margot. It was just too late. The cops get there, the authorities get there, and your dad basically just like, I think he just like took a really, really big overdose of heroin or something. He shot up, like, and just by the time they find him, he's got like nasty foam on his mouth, and that's it. He's gone. How do you feel? What do you do?
There's just a momentary twinge deep down in Margot, because it wasn't always bad, right? When she was little, and before he went on disability, she has some good memories there, but it's been bad for so long. Plus, we're at a point now where the truth's going to be told, and this is her father. It was inevitable that this or something else horrible was going to happen. At least it didn't get her or her mom hurt. So I think Margot's main focus right now is going to be trying to console her mom.
And as you come to that, like that hard truth, that hard realization about your dad and how broken he was and how this was inevitable, you feel that, like, initially that sort of like cold coil, multiple points on your body, around you from behind, that eventually like becomes warm, right? It's cold, you become cold, but then warmth like comes back around. And yeah, that's exactly right. And your mom is a mess. She's I think like after the, maybe like as the night's worn on, the cops go away. She's I think at first I think she's still like really tough to reach, right? She's crying. She's, do you want to try to like console her? Do you want to try to like bring her like fully to the place that you're at right now?
Don't think I'm going to try to bring her into the place I'm at because I'm pretty sure I'll destroy her right now.
Hmm.
So I'll try to console her as best I can.
But otherwise let her grieve.
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, Margot's not good with emotions other than expressing anger or wanting something.
Mhm.
So she's probably incredibly uncomfortable and feels like she can't do anything. So maybe she'll do what she does. It's like, okay, let her mom sit there at the table and cry, and she'll start like fixing up some eggs and spam, like,
Mhm.
and some sort of sugary drink because she's probably kind of in shock and stuff. And
Yeah. I'm into that. I feel like that's a good place for the scene. Like, just be thinking about where you want to go from here. Ellen, you are left in the forest by Bellefontaine, angry and frustrated, and you turn and you see a person. We think it's a person. A man. We think it's a man. Dressed head to toe in what appears to be some kind of like metallic mesh bodysuit, a silvery metal mesh bodysuit with like little finely worked iron roses, black and red, all over, featureless, but like just roses, like all over the body. And he reaches out his hand to you. He's about 10 paces away. He reaches out his hand to you and says, "Your presence is requested."
I'm holding back sort of the racking sobs. And I, not from that, but and I start walking forward.
He turns, and you see now that behind him there is almost like a tunnel of trees. Like the trees like make a sort of like arch, and create like a tunnel, a path deeper into the forest. And you see rays of beams of moonlight like piercing the foliage. You don't even remember the moon being high in the sky. And he beckons you in to step in. Do you?
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm special. And I'm finally, I'm going to be. They called me to the other place. I'm going to be a princess. I'm special, and I go.
And as you walk forward, this person who's guiding you there, who's leading you there, he says, "You are a dead thing. You must not make eye contact with him."
There are always rules.
And he takes you further in.
I say quietly, do I get a pretty dress?
And he says nothing, but puts his metallic hand on your shoulder and strokes your neck and shoulder as if to say something like that.
Oh yes.
And
good.
And pushes you further in. And he takes you to what appears to be like a throne room of sorts, but very organic, like lots of trees and vines and things, like, kind of racing up along like sort of makeshift organic walls. and there are dragonflies, and a really, really strong herbaceous smell, just like pungent, right? And there's some old, very, very like old cobbles set in the ground, like an old stone, like courtyard or pavilion of some sort, right? And there's a dais and there's a throne, and you see your classmate Thomas, but not quite Thomas. It's Thomas, but like a little different. His ears are a little pointier. His eyes are somehow like bigger, it seems. His cheekbones a little higher, but it's still fundamentally Thomas. And he has what appears to be like a twisted driftwood crown on his head, and basically nothing else. He's maybe got like just a bit of like sort of wispy cobweb-like material, like, you know, over his body. It kind of strategically covers different parts of his body, but otherwise he looks pretty naked. And what do you do?
There's probably that bit, that wisp, just a moment recollection of the classroom bit with the man in yellow trying to get me together with Thomas, and my reaction against that. But that I've died since then. That's all gone. It's just like a flash before it goes away. And I go forward. This is the prince. He's going to love me.
He stands up and he steps down to be on your level.
I look away.
He says, "Good." And he begins to like kind of like circle around you, right? Like taking, like he's appraising you, right? As he kind of circles around. And he says, "You're a dead thing. I have my eyes on a dead thing, but not you. But you'll be good practice. I need to see what this is like. Do you understand what I'm saying?"
I'm special. I'm special. 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 I'm special.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it. I need to know what's going to happen if I lay with a dead thing. But if it doesn't go well, it kind of like stretches his arms a little bit. Well, let's just say I'm not really that concerned with what you think about me.
As you say.
He says, "We're going to lay together. Do you understand what I mean by that? Lay together?"
Yeah.
Good. And then he like holds his hand out, like, and he says, "You may express your gratitude now."
I guess I'll take his hand. Now I'm starting to have some momentary regrets, but there's a fairy kingdom around me. That's fine. Everything's fine.
Indeed. And he's like waiting. He's like, as you're holding his hand, he's like, he coughs impatiently.
I kiss it?
He's like, "Good." I'm gonna spend the string to basically like, he has a string on you. I'm gonna spend it. You get an XP if you sleep with him right now.
Oh yeah.
Under his terms.
There is no question of that. She needs affirmation desperately. Physical contact, emotional contact, even abusive emotional contact. That is what she needs to be acknowledged.
Coming out of the darkness are a number of his attendants, all of them covered in this metal mesh and holding in their hands another metal mesh suit. and another has like what appears to be like a sort of bladed hook and shears, and we just see them swarm you, and we'll cut there.
Nice.
All right, well, so let's take stock of where we're at before we continue with scenes. We know what Serena's up to. Serena's going around town and gathering her gang. I'm into that. I'd like to put some PCs together here in short order. I don't know if Jonah's the right move with Serena, though. Not really sure. Maybe Margot. I think Margot might be a good move. So maybe we can kind of angle for that. Jonah, what's your plan for the rest of the night?
Yeah, I was actually going to loop back in with Thomas. So
do what with Thomas? Sorry.
Like loop back in with him.
Oh, God.
So
Okay, good.
At this point, Jonah's feeling a little quelled in regards to the whole Serena situation. So I think he's going to go to Thomas and see if he can get some more backup on the Margot situation.
I'm into that. I think how to frame that up based off what I know is going on right now with Thomas. So we'll think about that for a second. I think I want to just like hook up with I want to just hook up with Serena and Margot. Then Margot, after you like are done consoling your mom, it's pretty late at night at this point. Where would you go? What would you do?
Well, taking care of Dad. Now there's the idiot who shot me in the head that I need to settle some scores with. I think I will attempt to gaze into the abyss to sense where Chad is, to find that scent I can follow.
I'm into it. Where do you go? Like, how do you gaze in the abyss? Is the classic like howling at the moon or what?
I think what we see is Margot's outside, and she's just kind of walking in circles and stops and pauses and takes huge, deep sniffs, and kind of going in a expanding spiral. Seems very deliberately trying to catch a scent. Anyone who would just even walk by would be like, figure out that she's trying to smell something or see which way a smell's coming from. It's real obvious.
I'm into it. You can take dark +1 because of your special.
So 7, just squeaked it out. Confusing and alarming visions, but you get your answer nonetheless.
Oh, indeed. Serena, what do you think about the confusing and alarming visions? I mean, he's gonna be able to track you guys, or she's gonna be able to track you guys for sure, right? So, how do you think that encounter might go, just out of character? Like, what are you thinking, like, as far as like, because if she's gonna confront Chad and probably hurt Chad, right? I mean, that's a definite. I feel like that's probably what's gonna happen. So, and Kevin's nodding his head. So, how do you think you would respond in turn? Like, how would Serena respond in turn?
So, like, I think what I want to do is try to I want Serena to try to like diffuse the situation, because like I still imagine it's like building up like a bunch of people together, and like Chad and Margot are against each other, but like to me, from what I can tell, or from what Serena can tell, is they shouldn't be against each other, even though like they're not their animosity towards each other isn't really animosity towards other people, and so they should be like working together rather than against each other. Like, and so I'm gonna like try to bring them together, even though that like the first part of it might not work out well, but like get them to essentially all be more on the same side to try to like go after whoever else, whether that's Bellefontaine or the big man or Jonah or somebody else.
Here's your vision, Margot. You are sniffing the air, trying to figure out what you're trying to figure out like where Chad is. You have because you have like because you're kind of like imprinted on Chad or whatever. Like you can hone in on Chad. I don't think we even need to gaze into the abyss for that necessarily. Okay. But I do think you're going to get a sense of something. You get a sense of I've got it. You are walking around and you suddenly like find yourself in a place that you didn't expect to be. Like you're kind of walking around the wilderness area, the area around the trailer park, right? And you suddenly find yourself in the middle of what appears to be a church. A strange place to find yourself suddenly, randomly. There is the stained glass. There are the benches and all that stuff, right? And then a woman steps up next to you, a nun, actually, an older nun. She's probably about like, I don't know, she's gonna be like in her late 40s or early 50s maybe. And she takes your hand and she holds it carefully. And she turns so you can face her and she says, "I'm coming, dear."
The fuck?
And you see now that like in her left hand is kind of like fallen away or fallen down by her side. And you see like in her hand, she has like a big sharp wooden stake.
I think you're looking for someone else, sister.
She's like,
I can guide you.
She's like, at this moment, yes. But you're next. Don't worry. And then it just cuts from there. So let's go to, I do want to put you and Serena together, but I want to give, let's just go straight to that. I want you, where do you eventually find Serena and Chad and Ben?
What I'd like would be, since I've been walking around, is to actually see Chad's Camaro coming down the street, and I come out of an alley and I just step right in front of it and put my hands on the hood, and Chad can wig out since he was pretty sure he killed me, and then we can go from there.
Nice. Yeah, he's freaking out. Serena, he's got a gun. He pulls a gun out of the glove compartment. He wasn't smart enough to toss the murder weapon. He grabs the gun. He gets out. He trains the gun on Marco as Marco's coming up the street. What do you do, Serena?
Oh, I totally get out of the car and like put myself between Margot and Chad, like with probably the gun like pointing like directly at me, and I'm like, "You don't want to do this. It didn't go well the last time."
Keep it cool.
Yeah. What is my cold? 1. Okay. I got a 7.
All right. You have a shaken condition. I think what's going to happen here is I think you're starting to have a lot of that little flash, that little moment of what was essentially kind of a terror of when Mr. Thompson pulled the gun on you in the car, right? And this is another instance of like a trigger happy like dude, right? Like who does not have control of his own faculties, and who, in the face of losing his grip on his power, like just lashes out, right? Like it's when people like him are most dangerous, right? And when they feel their status, their power, their authority slipping through their fingers,
Yeah.
And yeah, and I think you're gonna keep it together, But I think he just, I'm going to go with unnoticed. I think he just pushes past you. He's like, just get the fuck out of the way, Serena. He pushes past you, like still training the gun on Marco. So then what do you do?
I think, like, as he pushes past me, I think I like almost like just like tackle him from behind. It's sort of the like you're not going to ignore me. Like my goal with the tackle is really to like knock the gun away, like to like kind of make, even if there is fighting, it will be not as high risk type thing. So
I
like
see.
so even if there's some like lashing out physically, it's not with the gun, like he gets knocked under the car or something like that.
Yeah. I think if we do lash out physically, I think what makes the most sense is that like if he chokes up, that before you can react, that gives you a chance to get the gun out of the way, right?
Cool.
So,
Perfect.
It's a good roll, volatile.
Let's try that with my terrible volatile stat. Hey, I still got an 8. Cool.
Okay, so let's see here. On 7-9, you harm them, but choose one.
Yeah. What do I actually want to do? I think I want to learn them to learn something about my true nature, and he can have a string on me. So like maybe like something about like my vampiric nature comes out like when I do this.
Yeah. How does he, like what? Like just give me the scene. Like what happens?
Yeah, so like I think he pushes past me, and I think maybe I just moved too fast, and like I knocked the gun out of his hands, but like there's that like freeze frame moment like as I'm knocking it out. Like so if this were the CW show, like you'd see it over from his like point of view as like I have one hand like knocking the gun out, but like I'm staring at him, and you can see like the fangs like coming out at me as like I'm hissing at him to like this is not what you were supposed to be doing type thing, as like the gun gets knocked out and then like it speeds back up and like I'm suddenly behind him again, but he's not holding the gun type thing.
Nice. Yeah.
I always saw that.
I'm into it. And I think he like, yeah, I think I'm totally into it. And I think he like, yeah, he stops. Like the situation's under control. Marco, what do you do?
So, gonna shoot a girl twice on the same day, huh, Chad? Really nice. And you, I look over at Serena, shouldn't you be like off murdering some little children or something like that? Or crawling back into your grave? I know what you are. I can smell it. I've seen it. Now I'm going to be advancing on Chad, looking extremely pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to do this, Margot. You don't need to do this.
Oh, I want to do it.
Let's cut there. So, Ellen, what's your sex move?
Good question. Let me look.
Let's see here. When you have sex with someone, you both get to ask a question of one another. This can be asked in character or player to player. They must answer honestly and directly. Okay.
Oh, I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
So he mentioned the dead thing, the thing that he wants.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, who is that? Because I will need to kill her.
It is, yeah. I think like you're going to learn this. you're going to learn this in the middle of your passion, right? In the middle of you guys doing what you do. He whispers your name, her name rather, a couple times. He says Serena, you know, like, because just to be clear, you like are covered in a metal mesh suit, right? And I think he like whispers your name, Serena, and like you can tell like during this transaction, it's very like it's wildly like adventurous or dangerous for him, right? Like as he's like making love to you, as he's fucking you, he like occasionally has to stop, and like his servants have to come and like check on him to make sure he's okay, right? Like they give him food and drink, and make sure he's cool, that he's like whole, and then he goes back in, right? Like it's a bit of like a long torturous process almost, right, for him. But in the end, he feels like super like he's conquered something, right? He's really gone beyond his comfort zone, so to speak. And but he's said her name more than once.
That's right. Now I know. Get her out of the way. I'll be able. Yes.
And my question for you is, what are your true feelings for Thomas right now?
I think she knows deep down that he's a hollow object. I mean, in fact, she has much the same deep in her. She's doing the same thing with him as he is doing with her. But she can't admit it because she has to dress everything up in being special and romantic. And this is the one, and I have to, because that's what you do.
Nice.
That's how you keep away the darkness.
Yeah, good. When it's over, I think he goes back up to his little throne, and his servants all come, and they all kind of sit down like at his feet. They all like sit down around him, and he's kind of like slumped into the chair, spent, exhausted. His driftwood crown slightly askance on his head, right? And like he eventually like kind of like gives himself over to the others in a way. Like they begin to like touch his body, like they start like at his feet, and then they like move up his legs and up his chest into his arms and his hands, and they're like touching his body, and like it's almost like they're getting like a secondary experience, like they're getting the experience like secondhand that he had, right? He's giving that to them as a gift for their good service, right? And I think the scene just sort of recedes from there, right? Like it all just becomes smaller and smaller in your vision. And Jonah, would you have gone up to the woods to find Thomas, or where would you go?
Yeah, so we went to the pond.
Nice.
Which is the place where, I first entered the fairy realm, because the pond became a portal after Lilith had her thing going on. And so I think what we do is we go there, and we're doing like our little ritual thing where we smear the mud on each other. And I'm going to attempt to, basically what I want from Thomas is to let me into the Fae realm, or for him to come visit me, so that we can talk about what I can do about Margot.
And I think you get Ellen instead.
I love it.
I think you get Ellen instead. Ellen comes out of the Yeah, I think Rhodey sees her first, and Rhodey's like, "Oh shit, dude!" And Ellen just stumbles out of the woods. She's wearing no clothes, and
Literally.
and her hair is like shorn, like really. It's not bald, but it's like cut down to like nothing, right? It's it's like in Rosemary's Baby. What's her name? Like Mia Farrow,
Farrow.
like kind of short, choppy haircut, right? As she stumbles out of the woods. This is not a good look for you guys to be out here with this young girl who's come out of the woods, like, in this circumstance. What do you do?
I think what I do is I take Rhodey's jacket, like he had a jacket, and I just run over and throw it on her, and I'm like, Ellen, are you okay?
I probably need to. I need to go home.
And I think what I do is I'm going to ask. I'm going to communicate to Thomas basically that we need like his car here to take her home.
So, yeah. Do you want to give Thomas a string?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys have to wait a minute, right? Like you're kind of, you put a jacket around Ellen, and like all that stuff is going on. And maybe like 10 or 15 minutes later, there's like a honking, like up the ridge, right? Boop, 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 boop.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
Yeah, we're all dressed again at this point, and we head up to the ridge, and I turn to Ellen, and I'm like, "What are you doing out here?"
And despite
And I'm
being,
like, I think what I say is I'm like, you have to be really careful out in the woods. There's a lot of dangerous people, dangerous freaks who like to come and do weird shit out here. Meanwhile, we were just
probably not putting that together. She just has the jacket on, but she's not shivering because she doesn't get cold. But she'll say, he rescued me.
Who rescued you?
You know.
And it's like, do I know? Like, he's like looking at your head that's all shaved, and
the rough marks where the metal was on, where it's probably cut, the burrs of it have cut into the skin. And
yeah, I'm imagining you look a little roughed up, right? I mean,
right.
Yeah.
If someone comes along, it will look like I've been assaulted by you guys.
That's what I'm thinking.
And I think what I do is I'm gonna actually pull out my phone, or actually I probably tell Rhodey to do it because Rhodey was in contact with it. I want to tell Rhodey to call Agent Bellefontaine.
No, not him. Not him. Not him. No, just take me home. Just take me home. It's what Thomas would want.
Thomas? Oh God. And
speak of the devil, he's there with his BMW.
And so I walk up to the window and knock on it.
He rolls it down. He's like, "What the fuck? Like, this is the fourth, fifth time today I've had to come pick you up somewhere in the vicinity of the woods. I mean, Jesus Christ."
Well, Thomas, you've got the car.
Yeah.
I don't have a car.
Right. That's because you're poor. Let's see. How are we going to fit this whole motley crew into my car? And he looks and he sees, like, you got Rhodey, you got Tony, he's like, and what the hell is she doing here?
And I turn to Ellen, and I kind of think she's kind of crazy. So even though she said Thomas's name, I'm not sure there's actually anything that happened with Thomas. and and I turn back to him, and I'm like, I don't know. She looks like someone, messed with her. So I think we should just make sure she gets home.
Okay, yeah. This one's going to cost you, Jonah. That's all I got to say. This one's going to cost you. I don't like to be bothered in the middle of the night.
All right, it's fine. I don't want her. I want her home, and I really don't want her here. Like, this place is not for her.
He's like, well, all kinds of weird things happen in the forest. Who can say who it's for?
Yeah, and it's about time that we do start saying who it's for. And it's for us, and not Ellen, and not Serena, and definitely not Margot. So yeah, I'll do whatever you want. But when it's time, I want to talk to you about the Margot problem, because we haven't forgot what she did to Dawn. And one way or another, Dawn's going to get justice.
He's like, right. I don't know why I let you talk to me this way. I really don't. If you were anyone else, you'd be in a hell of a lot of pain right now.
I'm going to pull a string on him to give him the condition befuddled with Jonah.
Yeah, I'll take that.
And yeah, so does he like give her a ride home?
Yeah, he will. Yeah. I want to have that car right, but we'll come back to it.
Okay, cool.
I do want to cut. I'm going to immediately cut back over to the Marcos Serena showdown, but I want to take a quick bio break before that. Okay.
So Yoshi, were you up late last night?
Not super late. I was up till midnight, essentially.
I was up to like 1:30.
Oh
Oh
man.
man.
Because I drove back. So Kevin, Yoshi, and I are going to like Kubla Khan this weekend,
Yeah.
and so he's staying there, but I'm actually driving. And so I had to drive back last night. It was like 40 minutes to get home.
Oh man, that's rough.
So I'm going back to bed after this game.
That seems fair. But your Laser and Feelings game went well?
Yeah, it went well. It was kind of crazy because it was 6 people, and some of those people have very big personalities. So, I mean, you have that problem where you're trying to like shine the spotlight on someone, but these other people are so excited that they just keep going.
Mhm.
But it was great. It was fun. They were basically going against space pirates who were trying to what's the word? They're trying to like appease their space pirate king/queen, which I kept referring to as the king/queen. And they were like sexy, but like all the aliens were sexy, and the barbarians were the space pirates soldiers were like barbarians that were like Conan-esque sexy beefcake barbarians. And so they were basically trying to get as many sexy aliens as possible to the king/queen so that they would finally be like appeased. Yeah, so
Cool.
that was fun. That's ridiculous. But yeah, I might bring Pack of Strays today. I don't know if I'll run it or not, and I might bring Fiasco. We'll see.
Neat. So for anybody who prints out the new Monsterhearts string like sheets and brings them to a con, you might want to amend it slightly because the pulling strings move on the reference sheet doesn't tell you that you get an XP for doing it. So for tempting somebody, so you have to like know that. You might want to write it out, especially if you're writing it out for new players who have never played the game before.
Well, it's really weird because the Trick or Treat sheet totally
The
does.
Trick or Treat does, but the official new one doesn't. So
I
like
wonder
when
if Avery will fix that. That's weird.
no, because I'm looking at the book. I'm reading the book right now. I've got the PDF open, and it's still the same text. So that like when you tempt another player characters, it counts as offering them an experience point. It's just not on the quick reference, which is not a great thing for a con when you're trying to use that and like it's not on the sheet. How do I get them?
I
to
don't
give them
understand why
experience?
I don't understand why it's not on the sheet. Like, I think that's an error, right? Because it's part of the move. So
I would think so, but yeah, it's not on the sheet either in the book or on the quick reference. It's only referenced in the explicit text.
What are we talking about?
For the Monsterhearts 2 sheets, like the new release ones versus the Trick or Treat, the wording has changed slightly. On the sheet it says tempt them to do what you want, comma. Then the next line is give them a condition. It dropped the clause that said they get an XP.
Oh, interesting.
It's still there, like it's in the full body of the text, but like in the quick reference, it's just dropped, which makes it really awkward if you just print out the sheets at a con to give to players, especially if they don't know the game yet.
Oh, that's somebody should probably point that out to Avery.
Yeah.
It's like the Spirit of 77 sheets. The ones online were completely different than the actual rule book. And Rich had to write them and go, what is going on? Which one to use?
Oh, Spirit of 77. Okay. Margot, Serena, the situation is it's just the two of you staring each other down a dark street, Mercy Falls. What do you do?
So Margot's advancing very belligerently, pointing down at Chad, and it's like, we have some business, Serena. Just step up.
And I think I step like I put my hand on Chad's shoulder and like step around him, and like maybe I give him a quick glance and like maybe like since I already exposed my fangs, like I just like smile at him and like give him like that leer of like this is not your fight type thing right now, and then like
Wait,
instead
smile
of
at
like
who? At Margot or Chad?
no, Chad. And then like I turn and like that's all I do. So like whether he like listens to me or like backs off, I don't know yet. But like then I turn to Margot and I look at her, and that's where my attention is.
Yeah,
Like,
he'll back off. Ben will like poke his head out the Camaro and say, "Hey, Margot." Put his head back in.
You see Margot take a stumbling step before remembering she's totally pissed off. Hey, Ben.
And so I think I turn to so I'm looking at Margot and I'm like, look, I've heard what Chad has to say, and I know why you would want to hurt him, seek revenge, but you're still here. You're right in front of me. And like I like look at your head because like that's where you got shot. And I'm like, and then I point to like the scar where I got shot above like from Mr. Thompson. I'm like, I know what it's like. I don't know how you survived or what really happened, but you're here now. And I don't think Chad is really the person that you want to seek revenge on, the person that you need to lash out against.
Oh, it's bigger than just Chad, but that's where I'm starting.
But why would you? And I like look at, like, I maybe glance over my shoulder at Chad. I'm like, why would you deal with an insignificant person like that when you can use him as a tool instead of taking him out of play?
He's a total veneer. Nothing underneath what you see there is worthwhile.
He is a tool.
Just a facade.
Maybe, but
No.
he's something that can be useful.
Chad's like, I'm still here. I just want to throw that out there.
Look, he's good and bad. I'll give you that, Serena. If you want to go ride that horse, well, I don't think he'll be around, but I don't work like you. I'm not about using and manipulating people. I'm about making
The
things
direct
happen
action.
and get done. And this is going to get done. Now step away.
Margot, why won't you let me help you get what you actually want? Because it's not Chad. It's not Chad being hurt or killed or anything. You may think you want that, but that's not really what's important to you.
Chad says, again from the background, I'm really freaking out. I don't know what's going on with Marco. I thought she was dead, but I just want you guys to know this is really turning me on right now. I'm so into this.
Yeah. And I think I totally will spend a string because I do have a string on Margot. So like as like we're getting closer to each other, like because we're probably both slowly walking towards each other as this whole conversation is going on. I think I just stop like just like where that personal bubble like area would be, and I reach out my hand slowly, like just like raise it up to like put on your shoulder, and I look at you. I'm like, look, Chad is an asshole who doesn't know any better than what he needs to do, but he's an asshole we can use, and I think if you just let me help you, and this is where I'm spending the string of like, tell me what it is that you need, that you actually want. And then I like look at the car and like head nod toward it, like, then all of us together, we're stronger together. We can go deal with that and take care of it now.
I want to expose all the lies of this city. Everyone here is fake. Nothing's sincere. Nothing's real. Everyone
Maybe.
pretends to care about each other. They live their little lives. No one actually gives a shit about anything. This city's a blight.
I think when you say that, like I think I walk up beside you to like start walking towards the car together. I'm like, maybe, but let's try to let's work together on that. Maybe you could use a granola bar to help calm yourself down.
Where the fuck is Ben? Didn't I just see him? Oh,
He brought a Ziploc bag full of them for the road,
Yeah.
just in case it came to
you
that.
see Margot kind of roll her shoulders. And you feel them, how muscled they are, underneath your hand. When
Yeah.
she rolls them, and she kind of cracks her neck. And she's big sigh is like, okay, it's not my style, but I'll delay some gratification for a bit here.
Wonderful.
You're making some points.
So Chad's like, so are we going to have a three-way or what? Like, what's going on here?
I think both of us just like glare at him when he says that.
You
At least I do.
wish. You wish, Chadwick.
Indeed.
And I think we'd get to the car. And so like, who is actually your next target? Like, who would you tell me when I ask about who we should go after? That's not Chad. Is it Belfontaine or is it Big Man? It's not Big Man. It would be like Belfontaine, maybe.
I'm kind of on Team Big Man right now.
Belfontaine's an outsider. Like, he doesn't really. He's just
Yeah,
trying to get to
no,
the truth
but
of these murders.
there's these pond freaks that
Okay, so
Probably
we're gonna go
something
after
needs to
Gerard.
happen
This is
with- yep.
perfect. This is awesome. Yeah. All right, cool.
Let's cut back to the car ride. Ellen, I think you're like crammed in the back seat with Rhodey and Tony right in the middle, and Jonah's in the front seat. And Thomas is like, Thomas is driving, and he's like, you guys fucking reek of the woods. You're gonna stink up my car. Like, this is some bullshit. And he looks in the rear view mirror, makes eye contact with you, Ellen, and he's like, nice haircut. And smiles.
All that's going on in my head is this phrase that Jonah used, that Ellen doesn't belong here, doesn't belong with this group, doesn't belong. And so there are a bunch of people that need to be not here anymore to make me awesome. And he's on that list up there right now. And so I'm just sitting there smoldering.
Jonah, what are you doing during the car ride?
I'm actually looking up like werewolf weaknesses on the internet, and I'm just like scrolling, and I come to like this bit about Wolf's Bane, and I turn to Thomas, and I say, do you know anything about this? Can we get some of this?
I assume this is like at a stoplight or something, and he's
No.
he's like, "What the fuck? What are you shoving in my face, dude? Like, what is this? Like, you're holding your phone up to him or whatever."
Right.
I'm trying to drive. Hello.
Wolf's Bane. I mean, you know about like stuff like this, right?
Oh right, yeah, I know about stuff like this because I'm a fucking horticulturalist. What are you talking about? Like, I don't. It's like, dude. He's like, "Come on, dude."
And I'm going to I think I'm going to use I'm going to bargain with him, and I'm just like, what will it take for you to drop the act and just tell me where I can where I can get this.
Are you invoking your power here? The dark power move.
Yeah.
Let's see, which is
Strings attached.
strings attached. Okay, let's take a look at that. Make sure we're getting everything. You can ask the dark power for something. I'll attach a price and hint at the undesired twist in its nature. If you pay the price, okay, good. He says, all right, look. I guess I don't have any reason to be coy here. We all kind of know what's going on, right? Says it like in the car. Everyone's like kind of understands what's happening here, yeah? Even you, right, Ellen?
Oh yeah, I understand everything.
Good. So we're all on the same fucking page. Awesome. So you want some, what is this? What the fuck, Jonah?
It's called Wolfsbane, and I can hold like the phone up to his face.
Wolfsbane, right. Let's see. I'm sure we can probably get some. I'm not too worried about that, but do you really want to go up against her? I mean, come on. Do you really think a handful of like leaves and herbs and is gonna stop a massive rampaging beast from ripping your fucking throat out?
And that's when I'm going to reach my hand over to his thigh and lean over and tell him, you chose me because you thought I was strong, didn't you?
Sure.
And I don't know if I'm turning him on.
I'm just gonna keep rolling with the what he wants
Okay.
from you kind of thing.
Okay.
With
Yeah,
a twist.
good.
He says, yeah. That's right. I definitely need you right now. Let's just say there's going to come a time when I'm going to ask you to suit up, as it were, for danger. Are you cool with that?
So long as you give me what I need to deal with it, then that's fine. I mean, you're the one with all the cards.
All right. Let's go ahead and we'll drop off Wednesday Addams here, and then we'll figure out what we need to do after that.
And I'm gonna actually like turn back to Ellen. I'm just gonna be like, "Are you gonna be okay? Do you need anything?" And I'm totally just like treating it like a baby.
I'll be fine.
Are you sure? Do you want us to call someone?
No.
And I'm like, okay, well, we'll see you at school tomorrow.
He stops the car, and Tony gets out to let you out, Ellen. And Thomas turns to you. What do you say? Were you about to say something?
No, go ahead. I have something I want to do after this.
Thomas turns to you and says, hey, I hope you'll think about me tonight as you fall asleep.
Now, go inside. Not look in the living room because I don't want to see if my parents are here and they're still with masks on. I just go upstairs and I get my other like backup phone, like the cheap one, and I text, like look around, and I very carefully text Margot. Jonah's looking for Wolfsbane. Send.
Nice, good. As they pull away, as Thomas pulls the car away with just the three of you, Jonah, he looks at you and he says, I totally fucked her.
Oh, gross.
He's like, no, man, it was it was really interesting. It was really intense, you know, like, I mean, I've slept with, gosh, thousands and thousands of beings, but none quite like her. It's the truth.
Really? Because she seems like the most boring person in the entire school.
Yeah, she didn't have much to say, it's true. She just kind of, you know, well, if I'm being perfectly honest, I can't tell. I couldn't really see her face to see if she was enjoying it. But she's
And I think I turned back laughing to the other guys, and I'm like, bag over the head.
something like that. Something like that. I'll just say, I'll just tell you this. She's a really special girl, but you know, I'd never tell her that.
Yeah, well, sometimes she seems like she needs to be told that she's special.
He's like, whatever, and he drives off. We've got 30 minutes left in the session. I want to go around the table and find out if anybody else wants any scenes. I'd like the closing scene to be back at homeroom, just like it was last series. So that's where I'd like to land as far as this goes. But I'll just go around the table and find out if anybody else has any plans for this evening. Jonah, just to be clear about what happened with Thomas, Thomas has basically suggested that like at some point you're going to be like quote unquote suiting up for him, right? So just remember that. And
I like the idea that like I don't know if you like this idea, but my idea was like maybe like wolfsbane just starts growing in the forest, like an outbreak of wolfsbane.
Yeah,
Like
that's
an
awesome.
invasive
Yeah, I like
species.
that. Yeah, that's good. I'm into it. Cool. So let's just go around the table. Serena, anything you want to do before we go to homeroom?
I think the only thing that I would want to do is maybe after like driving around, if we never find Jonah for that night, and everybody like disperses, I think I want to have it could just be like a little montage, but like where I probably with Chad, because he seems the one who's like the least like part of the gang type thing. But like maybe like with him getting dropped off at his place or something, and like feeding on him and just trying to like really actually make him like part of like that gang type thing.
Yeah. Have you ever fed on Chad before?
No. So
You can go ahead and take the benefits of the feeding move if you want.
Cool.
Get an XP and choose two.
and that will just so you know, that XP will get me an advancement. So I think since narratively we put it like, I think the advancement is going to be that vampire coterie type thing.
Your nest or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And then for choosing two, I just had the sheet open. What do I want to do?
You heal if you need to. It sounds like you're going to take +1 forward, and
Yeah, I
Chad
think I'm just going to
doesn't
take +1 forward and he doesn't die.
All right, cool. What does Chad taste like?
What does he taste like? I think, because he's like athletic, like I think he tastes like more like there's more iron in his blood. So like there's a slight like a slight like metallic like tinge to whatever it is. That, or at least that's what it tastes like is. And so yeah, like a protein shake, like it's got that weird like supposedly healthy vibe, but doesn't necessarily taste as good.
Right. Yeah.
Like feeling to it.
The equivalent of like chalky
Yeah,
taste,
exactly.
right? Like
Perfect, yeah.
The blood equivalent of that. Okay. I'm into it. Cool. I think like after you're done feeding on him, he's like, that was fucking intense. It's like, whew. He's like, you wanna go to my room and like, nurse me back to health or whatever?
And I think I just like I don't like verbally say anything, but like I maybe like brush his hair out of like over his eyes or something, and just like I lean forward and like kiss him on the forehead, and I'm like, no, you'll be fine without me, and then like I just leave him and like walk out the door.
Nice, good. Sweet. Marco, what about you?
Well, one quick question here with Serena feeding on Chad. So, because I slept with Chad, I have that connection to him. Now, that's only supposed to go away when he has sex with someone else. I'm not sure if this feeding borders into that, where I feel like kind of that there was a more primal physical connection is either attenuated or completely broken. I have no idea
I think in
who it
the
would be.
fiction it makes sense that it would
Yeah.
be broken.
Yeah.
Like even if it's not like per se sex, it seems like it would be an emotional, physical
Right. It's that
experience of an equivalent nature.
intimacy.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's an intimacy to it. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So that's another person who stepped away or been lost.
Yeah.
To
No, and
Margot.
it makes sense in terms of like where Margot's at right now, right? Because I'm
Yeah.
imagining Margot feeling like particularly detached and disaffected. What you have no strings, right? Like
Correct.
You're particularly like outside the circle now. You're in the same circle that Big Man and Bellefontaine are in right now, right?
Yeah.
And that's important. So good.
The one other thing I wanted to say about that is that I think the rules reinforce is my sex move is when you deny someone sexually. And so like, even though that's not like us having sex, that is my sex move.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that all works. Yeah. Well, and does that fire off for Chad then too? I mean,
Yeah, I think it does. So it means that I gain a string on Chad, which I think
would take perfect. That. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Well, so then Margot, anything else you want to do?
All right. So Margot goes home, checks on her mom who's asleep. She's, cried herself asleep essentially. And you see her pull the blanket up over her mom and go to her room. She lays down in bed, brings out her smartphone. You see her typing. And then as you look over her shoulder and she's scrolling through tattoo images of tentacles and stuff, like she's looking for something she wants to get.
Nice. I love it. Ellen, what about you?
I think it's probably pretty silent of her going up to her room and going in to the shower, and she's been holding herself pretty well together.
Yeah.
But I think as she's sort of cleaning herself off from the muddy handprints and all of that, that's the point at which she kind of breaks down into that crying fit. And the thing is that she cries and cries and cries, but there are no tears. None of that comes out. And there's probably a pull away of that from the face. She can't make tears anymore.
I love it. It's good. Would that possibly invoke your trauma move, do you think?
Yeah, I assume at the end she's going to end up with the whole situation would definitely give her traumatized on there.
Yeah, I'm into that. Yeah, I think you should take it. Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then what about you, Jonah?
Like, what am I doing?
Yeah, anything you want to do before the night's over? Before we go to the
I think what Jonah does is after he gets dropped off with the guys back at his place by Thomas, the guys go inside and we just see Jonah like walking around the back of the house, and you see all these blue flowers have sprung up between all the trees.
Nice.
And it's like suddenly the forest is infested with wolfsbane.
Okay, nice. Love it. Cool. I need one more quick bio break, and then we'll come back and do our homeroom scene and wrap this series.
So Lowell, are you running at Origins and Games in Demand or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm up for 4 sessions for Games on Demand. So
Awesome.
very much looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm only the only thing I bought tickets for was to play Masks with Angela Murray, and the rest of the time we plan to do off the books gaming and Games on Demand. So
Awesome. And Sherry and Rich and I will all be there.
awesome.
I know Jason Cox is going to be there, probably a few others. Yeah, I dig it. Yeah, and you've been there before, right?
No, this will be my first time to Origins.
Oh, man. I stress this every time, but the food availability around the place is amazing.
I have a couple friends who are like, oh, there's this Indian place we got to take you to. You're going to love it. So, yeah, I'm really excited and looking forward to it.
Short North is really good, but even if you just like walk further down that street past Short North, like there's a bunch of places. There's like a Cajun like Creole place like
Ooh.
DeVie that's pretty good. It's a little bit further walk, but it's also because it's a further walk, it's not like it's emptier.
Right.
And there's not a ton of people there.
The Mongolian barbecue place is good, but it gets crowded fast.
Yeah.
We went to the Italian place that's sort of around the corner that Rich said is a chain. And it was huge. It's some sort of gigantic sort of Italian restaurant where all the dishes you buy are like for the table. You don't buy individual things.
Gosh, is that like Buca di Beppo or something?
That's exactly what it is.
Yep. They do family style.
Yeah.
That's a fun way to eat. It's not necessarily the greatest Italian food, but it's a great way to do it at a con.
Yeah.
All right, just waiting on Philip, I guess.
I'm actually reworking Veil character sheets to take that to Origins Games on Demand as my backup.
Oh, cool.
Oh, hey, Lowell, since you brought it up, do you have like playbooks for the Veil separate from the main text of the game?
You mean? Well, I have the reference sheets, but I'm actually reworking some of them to make them a little easier to digest.
Oh, I'm asking because I've got a codex artist who wants them, and he can only find them like with the main text, not like pulled out into a separate PDF.
Oh yeah, there's a reference place with sheet with all of the playbooks.
Oh, okay, awesome. That'd be great. If you can send that to me on Slack, that'd
Sure.
be awesome.
I'll do that.
Okay, so all right. I just want to cut straight to homeroom. What a day, huh? You're all back. You're in class improbably, but that is the case. None of your parents are going to let you miss school today. And in fact, the school has actually, you get the impression that the school has actually like reached out to like the community and said like, it's been a lot of hard days recently. We need all the kids at the school. They're instituting some kind of new kind of grief counseling program of some sort. And exactly, sense of normalcy. And as you all file into the homeroom, you see Vice Principal Forsyth is there. She's been kind of managing homeroom until we get a new teacher. And she has someone with her, a nun, older woman dressed in like a sort of like, kind of like working nun outfit, like kind of powder blue, skirt and, and habit. And a little cozy, little cozy sweater vest thing, and they all they all say good morning to you as you all come in and file in and sit down. And what is everyone thinking as you go in and you see this? And you see Vice Principal Forsyth and this nun.
You see Margot just again that like lock up look.
Instant recognition. You totally recognize her as the nun from your vision.
I lean over to Serena, who's maybe just right next to me coming into the room. I'm like, I've seen her like in a vision.
In
Jeez.
your vision, I'll point out in the vision, she was in like full black nun's habit, right? Like very like ceremonial looking, right?
Yep.
This
She
is
was
more
in
like simple.
she was in ninja nun mode,
Exactly,
essentially.
right.
And she had a big steak and said she had stuff to take care of.
That's no good. We'll have to keep an eye on her.
Yeah, she implied she was coming for me too, but I think she's coming for you first. Watch your back.
Okay.
What about you, Jonah and Ellen? How are you guys feeling about these?
I mean, I'm probably reacting like all the other students, just like, oh God, a nun, really?
Indeed. Ellen?
I don't care about that. I'm concentrating on what I'm going to do, and that I can get my seat right next to Margot.
I think as Thomas walks in, he makes eye contact with you, Ellen, and he kind of like does a really like vulgar thing with his mouth, like something like that, you know. A little tongue, a little air kiss as he like a wink as he sits down.
I looked to see if Jonah saw it. He didn't.
Who knows?
I'm irritated.
Indeed. Yeah, Jonah was too busy. Like, what were you doing, Jonah?
I think what I do is I have a little twig of a little sprig of wolfsbane, and I'm like twirling it in my fingers. And then I think like we have those desks that have like the inside storage that you lift up and I turn to Margot and I'm like motioning towards her desk and I'm like tapping, like lifting the lid of mine, like and I'm nodding towards her desk.
Nice. I'm gonna go to well, let's just get to it. Miss Forsyth says, all right, students, go ahead and calm down, have a seat. As you know, a lot of really terrible things have been happening in town, and your parents and the school superintendent and everyone who works in the district is very, very concerned about your mental health. We are worried that the events of the last couple of weeks we don't want these things to affect you for the rest of your lives, and so we have gotten in touch with Sister Mary Edward Price. And she kind of like motions over to her. She is a world-renowned grief and grief counselor, trauma expert, and she's going to be here in school for the time being, meeting with you and helping you work through what you might be feeling right now. And she turns it over to Sister Mary Edward, who steps up and she's like, hello, children. Don't be intimidated because I wear the habit. I take my work very seriously, and I'm not here to judge. I've worked in some of the most war-torn countries in the world. I've worked in Darfur. I've worked in Yemen, in Afghanistan. I have helped some of the most traumatized children in the world face their grief, process the terrible, terrible things they've had to experience, and come out the other side stronger than they were before. And when I heard about what was going on in Mercy Falls, I certainly could not deny the request. And so I'm here to help you. I'm here to work with you, each of you. I want you to know that I am your friend, and that together we're going to get through this. And I think that's it. I think we'll just cut there.
Can we just have a real quick thing where Margot opens up her desk to pull out her notebook and there's a bunch of wolvesbane in there, and you see her yank her hand back like it's stung.
Nice.
Sharp look over at Jonah.
Awesome. Okay, well, so that was good. Series end. We're set up for the next one, which I think might be August. I might push it to September if that's when Fraser can join us. So we'll take a look at that. But I loved it. I thought it was really great. I had a good time. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed all the situations. Mercy Falls is a really, really twisty, fucked up place, and I'm into it. Yeah. Anybody, any feedback, any thoughts, anything we want to discuss?
I just want to say again how much I love playing with this group. The interactions between the players and the NPCs and everything, just none of it feels forced. It all is just so smooth and fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree completely.
Yeah, super awesome.
Yeah, my first experience with Monsterhearts, and wow, so good.
Yeah,
so good.
But I had a good time. Monsterhearts always
awesome.
delivers. Monsterhearts rarely does not deliver. I've found that to be the case. I think you can always do even better. Like I think this was a particularly enjoyable series of Monsterhearts. But even like a sort of like halfway Monsterhearts like there's still like a lot of good stuff there, you know. And I actually feel like personally more comfortable running Monsterhearts than I did say like a year or two ago. Like I feel like I've got a better handle on the beats of the story that Monsterhearts tries to tell, you know. And that's been really fun to kind of like it's been really fun as a GM to like kind of to sort of figure that out, I guess, you know, and because it doesn't have the same pacing requirements as like say Dungeon World or something, right? Like it's really different, and I had a good time. Really good stuff.
Yeah, I had a great
Cool.
time. That was a ton of fun. It's always really fun, kind of doing the like PC and PC triangles and Monster Hearts.
Right,
'cause
yeah.
it's just so amazing.
Yeah,
So,
I think for next time, clearly Sister Mary Edward's going to be like our sort of principal antagonist next time, right? I don't think Bellefontaine and Big Man are done by any stretch. Big Man might be to an extent. I think Big Man, we may have had it might end up being a situation where Big Man has kind of turned past his torch onto Margot, and so we may not see Big Man much more. So it could be more like a Sister Mary Edward Bellefontaine thing. I think Bellefontaine's situation is ongoing. But
we kind of saw like that thing that's kind of behind Big Man, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, we experienced it when we saw it, I guess. Right. But yeah, I think that's the idea. Is like, you know, Big Man's. To me, it kind of feels like Big Man's done what he can do, and now he's like kind of letting Margot be the one. You know,
Wheels are definitely in motion now.
Yeah. So I think between Bellefontaine and Sister Mary Edward, and I think as far as those being like our two big threats for next time, I think that's going to be really good. Because the way I want Sister Mary Edward to be is I want this idea of like she's just here to help you. She's just here to make everything okay, right? And helping you and making everything okay might mean she has to do some things that maybe you all aren't very comfortable with. So, yeah.
Nice.
But well, it was great. Lowell, super fun playing with you.
So good.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Everybody else,
So good.
awesome as usual. I'll see you guys later. All right.
Right.
Perfect.